All right, let's take a look at Digital River here. This is a stock that we put out on the site to strongly consider shorting at 25.60, and it's worked out absolutely perfect. The stock did exactly what we thought it would do, and once it gets down to 22, it's going to fill a gap. But we'll get back to that in a second. What we look at with this one is just to review. The stock was all the way up at 41. They came out, as the note says here, they lost their number 3 client, 32% of their business. It gapped down substantially. Huge volume, immense volume, record volume, and all the panic took over. Went as low as 23.40 right there, made a bounce, but you can see the cross trend here, and the cross trend is basically where the low in the range crosses the high in the range, up or down. And you can't see it here. We've made the chart smaller so you can see that gap that I alluded to. But the trend comes down. There was a high of about 40.50 in this, other than the 41.17. So it's actually a triple top. But the range comes down, and you can see here that this is acted now as major resistance as the stock has fallen. But a couple of things to look at. We noted that you could throw the RSI right out the window when you lose your number 3 client. It doesn't matter how oversold you get. Panic is going to set in, and that's exactly what happened. Stock has fallen substantially. We put a target on it of 22, and it is very close to that. It hit 22.5 yesterday. But the interesting thing about this is, look at the panic on the volume bar here. And since then, most people that got out of this have gotten out. And it has dropped lower, but you haven't seen the panic come in and have more people selling out. So when a stock drops on much less volume, that is bullish, and we've seen that here. The other thing we note again, and I alluded to it, and it's huge, this gap is actually all the way back in February. And if you look here, the 1907 is underneath this cross trend. The odds of 1907 being lost, unless this company goes out of business, are very, very slim before this thing bounces. And here's what you can look at. Take a look at the 1907. Take a look at the 3 highs here. 26.62, 26.93, 26.90. Notice that the 22, come back over here. Look at where this is going to top out. Can you see a bust out over the top of this channel? Over 25, we can. And that's exactly what most likely happens to this one. We'll look for it to, you can't really call it capitulate, it already did capitulate, but we'll look for this one to just fill that gap. The target's 22. We're going to kind of change things up here and put in to strongly consider scaling into this one right at 22. Then strongly consider buying it on weakness at 21.60. And then on a bust out over 22.5, add it, which would be actually yesterday's low. So that's how we're going to look at Digital River. Earnings are coming up on November 4th. That's a huge thing to note here. And that would be most likely why all these people right here are saying, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this thing. The bad news is out. It dropped from 41 all the way down to 23 and 26. Why sell now? And the result of this could easily be back to 26. And if they blow earnings away, other than the 32% that they lost on that client, you could easily see this one. It could really challenge its 200-day moving average. So that's what we'll look at. Digital River, today's play of the day.